Welcome to Fandom Night, the show that asks Shane how the Zaku handles.
Like a piece of shit.
I'm your host, Reploid Bill William Bush. Let's do the co-host thing.
I'm Seth Lovell, and I'm addicted to stress, because that's the way that I get things done.
I'm Shane McCree, and I'm not addicted to stress.
I'm Nick Bennett, Lone Paladin, and I have broken Final Fantasy IV finally.
Scott Action Jackson, and I always got stress, so.
Hey, you said it right the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are making good on our promises of the past. We said that we would finish a Final Fantasy Legacy, and we're going to do it. We are on 7, so the first thing we do is see it.
Back then, looked amazing, especially the opening cutscene, and then you get into the game. And then it's nowhere near what the cutscene was.
Polygonal.
Pointy bits. All it needs to be said.
Square pointy.
I think it looks like ass.
Nowadays, yes. Back then, it looked amazing.
If you also look...
But since we're picking best versions in this Legacy, and we're comparing it to every game to every other game, then by a Legacy comparison,
It's the best looking game so far.
no, it's
3D.
not.
It's 3D.
I actually think that Final Fantasy VI looks better than this.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, when you look at Cloud,
And Final Fantasy
anybody.
IV, because we
Yeah.
did the
And
complete
7.
collection, that
That's
looks
true.
better than this.
they have no mouths.
Fuck,
They have no
we did the
hands.
DS
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV, that looks better than this.
I always laughed at that. I always did. When you see them walking around, I'm like, where are their hands at?
By a
Can't see his
technicality,
hands.
Oh, you mean the Minecraft blocks that they're considered?
Yeah.
I brought this up once already. Since we've been doing best versions, we originally said that Final Fantasy V was the worst looking Final Fantasy in the Legacy. That is no longer true. I truly believe, aside from the gimmicky, every now and then getting to see a cutscene on your normal run-through, this game looks bad. But because of the battle scenes, when you really get to see what the game looks like, I would have to say that 5 probably still looks worse.
When the battle scenes look good, the cut scenes look good. The only thing that looked terrible was when you're on the world map or you're in a town when you're just walking around and you're all polygonal.
And that does look really,
It looks terrible.
really bad.
Terrible.
And
Yeah.
it's not just them being polygon, it's their color scheme. It doesn't match. Like all the backgrounds are these really beautiful, vibrant paintings that you're walking on, but they're painted in like real dark, cinematic like presentation, like a decaying world type of thing.
Well,
and then
yeah.
they're like really bright, cartoony polygons.
And then, like you said, in the certain scenes that you got a cut scene, there'd be certain like in-game scenes that lure off. Like when Zack is going up to fight Sephiroth, and when he cuts him, it's all weird because he's all in his polygonal form, and it just looks off.
That's the first time I remember noticing that was when you go up to the airship, and you're still a polygon figure, but it goes to like this weird CGI where you're still controlling the polygon figure, but the camera like moves up towards the airship like ooh, and everything looks awesome except for you.
There's another game that we haven't got to yet. They did that same thing.
Does a weird
Where everything else around you looks good, but you're still
Kind of crappy looking.
Yeah.
It's a 9, but when we get to 9, I'll
oh,
explain.
I'm shocked.
Yes, I told you about it because you said I told you the end of the game. You're like, oh, I remember now. I beat it. I didn't remember beating the game, but that was the end. Remember the end?
Yeah.
They did the same thing.
I somehow managed to beat that game and not know that I did it. I hated that game so much. Because he asked me what the last thing I remember happening was, because I was trying to determine where I'd gotten, and I told him the final scene of the game. I was like, that's the last thing I remember doing. And he was like, you beat the game.
You were at the end of the game.
He was like, you literally beat the game
You beat 9?
and
No,
turned
you
it off.
never played
Yes.
Remember when the scene where it wasn't going into a cutscene, but Zidane did not go into a cut. It was weird. He was still in his normal in-game.
Yeah, they did the same thing in 8.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, that's what
But 8 looked good.
That's what he was explaining when he was running down that tree.
Yeah.
Bill was like, "That's the last thing I remember." Like, that's the end of the game.
That's the last thing I remember doing, and I don't remember beating
The only reason why I remember that is because that scene is so off.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I seen it, I was like, they just got lazy and didn't want to make Zidane a cutscene?
Yeah, pretty much.
But if we're to compare this to everything else, I guess it's not awful. I mean,
No, only parts of it are awful.
this is a...
Yeah.
It's like a real 50-50 split down the middle with me. There are things about this game that do not stand the test of time. And then there are things about this game visually that even today I can watch the opening cutscene and be like, that right there is how you start a game.
The opening cutscene was good, especially since it was the first game in the series. They did that.
Well, there have been other games that start, like Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX, it opens and it's ass. Final Fantasy VII opens and it's like, you know instantly, this is going to be epic. Like,
Final Fantasy VIII opened on a fucking fight.
Right,
Yeah.
but Final Fantasy VIII's another one of those ones that I'm not including because it does open epic. It feels like it does everything it needs to in the first 2 minutes. It's like, this right here is going to be... This thing here is going to be epic. Like, every part of it. The music, the look, the atmosphere, all of it is epic.
It took me for a second to try to remember Nine's opening. Nine's opening was boring.
It's ass.
It's not
Nine's
good.
opening was just a bunch of...
It shows you the airship getting closer to Alexandria, and then it shows Garnet on the boat, and she's with... I call her Echo.
It's ass.
She's on the boat with her. I see that, the horn girl.
on the boat with ass.
The Magitech armor walking towards the town is more interesting to me.
But that was actually pretty...
And that was some
sweet.
walking.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting
that's
at.
a lot of walking.
That was some walking.
That's like 20 minutes of walking.
It's not that long, but it
feels like it.
It feels like it, but I promise you, because I would be irritated. Can I play the game?
Can I play the game?
Oh my!
No,
I'd be
you
like,
gotta watch
on
this
my phone, I would have been like,
walk.
start the game. All right, I'm gonna go do something else while you walk to town.
It did seem a lot faster on the phone version, though.
But yeah, and I didn't even mention it. Seven's opening was interesting.
7's opening
And
was
then
like,
they show, but they show you this. They show you all of Midgar,
Right.
Yeah.
and then they show you the train coming in. And you're like, sweet.
And it's going in on the train, and it keeps cutting to the train. It's like, dude, and then like, dude.
it's just back to Aerith, and she's just like,
And she's
my God,
walking.
this is awesome.
And then they finally, when the train stops in the station, and then Cloud flips off of it.
I
and you're-
instantly knew that was me, and I was cool. I instantly knew
It's like,
that.
I'm a badass.
There was no question in my mind. Like, the visual, even though it looks bad, part of the visual is the way that the game is shown to you, and the way that they interact and move around and everything. It feels epic from the very beginning.
But in 1997, when the game released and I first played it, I didn't care. I care that the game looked good, but the cutscene.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember. Well, actually, no, I lied. I'm so sorry. I didn't play it in '97 because I told you I had to go back to 7 because the first one I played was 8. So I was already used to the cutscenes. So going back to 7, when I seen the cutscene, I'm like, sweet. But then when I seen Cloud flip off to them, I'm like, what the fuck happened? Because I'm used to seeing Squall and all them. And even though they look like ass on the PlayStation, trust me,
they still look a lot more detailed.
They look more detailed than they weren't polygon.
They look like they actually are them.
Yes, and for the first time in a Final Fantasy, they followed you. They didn't just go inside of you.
Yeah, but
You know,
that was always weird.
Yeah.
Hey, when we travel, to go get food later, we all have to go inside Bill because he's the leader.
Oh my!
You don't call into the trip.
I'm splitting off from the party, and I'm gonna
That
go
is
solo for.
That is how you travel.
Wait! Paladin leaves the party.
It would certainly help.
Hold on, go get the airship. I'm coming with you.
It would help things when being like, okay, there's 9 people. We have 2 cars. Who's going with who? We'd all just be like, let's just get in a party.
And then whoever's the party leader's like, God, this feels weird. This feels weird.
And then he would just like
Look,
sit
as
down in the
long
car
as
one guy and
yeah.
drive. Then it would be like a clown car. You'd get to your destination and people would start stepping out of you, and everybody's coming out of the driver's side.
But here's the problem.
Everyone was
Here's the problem. Yes, that's the problem with that. It'd be normal for us. But then somebody who's like
Random
guy
down
talking
the
to his
road
friend,
and just be like,
and he looks
hey
over,
man,
he's like,
so we gonna grab a couple beers and what the fuck?
Grab a couple beers of what the fuck?
No, and what the fuck?
Oh, let's grab a couple beers of
Look,
what
all
the
I know
fuck?
is when we party up, whoever
beer
ends
or
up
beer.
being the leader of the party, they need to be hit so hard when we, join them that they spin like 6 times. That's all I'm saying.
No.
but
Bill is not under the confuse effect.
He's talking about in Suikoden, when the guy joins
Yeah.
your party, they like run at you, walk into you, and it hits you so hard your guy spins around like 3 times.
Like,
and
what
makes
the
this, like, bell
fuck?
noise.
Like, don't worry, man. Just join the party.
my biggest
Don't
thing
worry,
about
man,
that
we're
is
just drinking some tea.
is that the visual wise, I seen like for you guys probably played them and you played them in order. You guys started
No.
with
No,
one.
No.
my first
You
one,
did at least.
My first Final
Yeah, I
Fantasy was the one that everyone thought I was going to have the biggest hard-on for, and I ended up not giving it the best score.
Yeah, Nick's
It was
first
4.
one was
My
4.
first one
So
is,
the first one you played was 2.
yeah,
I don't know.
very first one
No,
was
the-
Final Fantasy II.
You might be
SNES
talking about
America.
the first Legacy, but
that's what I'm getting. So-
this one, I don't remember you giving our Final Fantasy a low score.
No, I didn't. No,
He didn't
No,
give
he
it.
I
means,
didn't give
like-
it the best. Score.
He didn't give it a perfect. He
I
gave
did
it a
not give
high
it
score.
perfect, like everyone thought.
Everyone thought he was going to give it a
I
perfect.
gave it a 4, and the reason I didn't give it wait. Final Fantasy IV Complete, I might have given a 5.
You gave
I
it a
can't
real
remember.
high rating.
You
Yeah.
gave it. It's like that
It's one of
ended
my
up
all-time-
pretty high
The
up.
Complete
Here.
Collection is one of my favorite
To
Final
make
Fantasies
it easier, the Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection is our second highest rated game
Yes.
because
Yeah.
nothing beats 6 so far.
No, 6 is the perfect game.
6 is a perfect game.
Because-
Nothing's beat it yet.
Yeah.
The main reason
That's 'cause
is
the only thing you
because
could do is
Spencer was
tie it.
not here.
Yeah.
You can't really beat 6. You can tie it.
No, six got a perfect score because Spencer wasn't here for that.
So are we done with this visual?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's like
visually.
the
yeah.
cutscenes
Visually-
look
Well,
beautiful.
At the time that it came out, it was the first Final Fantasy on the PlayStation 1, so it is going to look outdated at this point.
Yes.
But back then, it did look wonderful. It looked awesome.
The reason I won't give... I hear people defend that all the time. They say, well, it was the first one. Well, to be fair, though, when you look at something like, well, Final Fantasy VI, it was the last, but it was the last on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And you could still put it in today and be like, oh my god.
And technically,
That looks so
Final
awesome.
In
Fantasy-
fact,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IV on the Super Nintendo still looks good to me today. It still looks, everything about it
Yep.
still looks presentable by today's standards. You could have released this today and just called it, and they could have advertised this game today if it would have never come out and said, we just wanted it to have a retro feel. And everybody would have jumped on this game and been like, this game looks awesome. Well,
yeah. Well, like,
but if you release a game that looks exactly like Final Fantasy VII today,
it wouldn't
and
stand
say, it
the
has
test
a
of time.
retro look, you'll be like, yeah, it looks like ass.
Well, that's because
Well,
What the hell is this?
Final
Why
Fantasy
isn't it on the
VII
motherfucking N64?
Final Fantasy VII was supposed to be released on the N64.
Yeah.
The N64 did not
have
stand the
graphics.
test of time.
No.
no,
All the
it
games
not.
are terrible now.
Well, the
I
system
can
itself
I can still
stands the
sit down and
test of
play
time.
Paper Mario, and it looks beautiful.
the only
yeah.
game that I can actually sit down and play would be Donkey Kong, because I think Donkey Kong still held up decently.
I like
Majora's
Rampage.
Yeah.
And so
Ocarina of
yeah.
Time.
Wait.
No, Ocarina
No,
of Time
okay.
turns your eyes bad now.
That game looks awful.
Wait, which system are we talking about? The
N64 real quick.
I'd say
because that's what
Conquer.
it was.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
See, like
That held
there's
up.
still several games, but there's a lot of the good ones
But
that we remember playing.
The one that held
Yeah.
up the best
They
was
hurt.
Superman 64. It held up the best.
I will
Oh my
kill
God.
you.
Superman. Oh
I
god.
will kill
Hold
you.
on, I'll be
so
right back.
hard,
I
you
need
will
to go
die
get my
today.
knife.
Please, stab me! That's a threat. You all heard that.
No, it's not a threat. It's a promise. There's a difference, Shane.
There's a knife. Say it again.
Superman 64 stood the test of time. I got balls, buddy. Let's do it. But no.
You're lucky we need you.
For the moment.
I'm expendable.
Someday.
But there was that also at that one E3 they showed off a demo,
Tech demo
of Final Fantasy
See,
VII.
and that's what pisses off everybody.
Yeah.
Showed off a cock tease.
What it was is
It's
that's
like,
just what it would look
this
like
is
on the
what This
PS3.
could look like
Yeah.
on the PS3. You're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
Now they can make it for the PS4, make it even look even better, but they're not going to do it because they already explained
because
why.
the Final Fantasy games of today have not outsold the Final Fantasy games of yesterday.
It's
So they're not going to give us what we want until we give them what they
So
want.
pretty much,
At one of
AKA
these,
Square
bullshit.
doesn't like money.
there was
Yeah.
a panel. There was a panel where the direct question was, "Are we ever going to see it?" And the response was, "It has been considered, but there are no plans in action right now. If we can create a game that sells just as good or better than Final Fantasy VII, we can probably do it." That basically they were like,
They're looking for the
I
funding,
don't
really.
remember. I don't remember the exact quote, but basically what it came down to was like, if you guys buy our game like crazy and make it sell more than Final Fantasy VII, we might consider a Final Fantasy remake. And the problem with that is that
They've already promised us.
I have a
every
huge
single game.
I have a huge problem with that
Final
because
Fantasy 13 has had 3 parts. It still hasn't outsold Final Fantasy VII.
that's because people are not stupid. I mean,
And-
think about it. Square said this: if a Final Fantasy nowadays can outsell or sell just as well as 7 did, we will consider. That would
Yeah.
mean tricking people into buying their crappy game. Like, hey, we all bought it. It's outsold 7. Remake? No.
No,
We decided
now
it
you're
wouldn't be
getting
good.
a sequel.
And that's
Yeah,
not
but
a joke.
bam.
To
Also,
me,
the
that
10
game
remake
is
Then they
ass.
just tricked us all into paying for
I
games that we
like
don't
that,
want to play.
but the 10 wasn't
Just
a
to make money.
remake. It was just an
A
upscale.
remastered 10.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a remaster. And, but it,
No, actually, what it
It
was
does-
the international version brought over to
Yeah.
America
And
and upscale.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
actually liked it. Believe
It's
it or
great.
not.
It
I
actually-
enjoyed it.
Hey,
and
I gotta
It kicks.
kill.
It kicks the one we
I
got
gotta
ass.
kill Dark Val 4 with Yojimbo using Zanmato.
Yeah,
I
that
was happy.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, we
And
gotta
you
get
blew
back
all
into this
the
fucking
money.
city.
And then we went to Jekt, and Jekt was like,
And I was like, Bill, throw money at Yojimbo. He was like, no. I'm like, do it.
How much money should I throw?
All the money.
Throw all of it. Here's like 1,000.
no,
Did
I
it!
gave him all my money, and he one-hit killed the final boss of the game.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know, I
because
was
Yu
there, remember?
Yevin's not the final boss.
He was like, eat it, bitch. Yes, to me, he's the final fucking boss.
You Yevon?
Yu Yevon is not the final boss because it's impossible to lose the
Yeah, the
battle.
real final
You
boss
Yevon
is
was
Jekt.
stupid.
You can't lose the final fight.
You could still lose the jet.
You can lose the
Oh,
fight
you
right
could lose
before
the
him.
fuck deject.
Yeah.
That guy's like, oh,
I
well,
think
that's
he was
cute.
more difficult.
I
remember
his ass.
when I got to him.
Did
him
you
in
play
the
the
original
remaster?
version.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I got to him in the original version, I beat him, and I hadn't even completed a single-person sphere grid. I had not broke into other people's areas. The first time I ever beat him on the PS2, I got there this time, and I was far stronger than the first time I got there on PlayStation 2.
Because you needed to be far
And you
strong.
still-
And my first fight against him, he took me by surprise, and he ended up beating me.
And you said that you were stronger this time when you fought him, but you still gave Yojimbo all the money to one-hit kill him.
Damn
I
right.
could have beat him on the second time I went in the room
You fought
because
him
I
legitimately,
knew,
right? Yeah,
I
you-
knew my mistake. I made a stupid mistake that got me killed. I underestimated how strong he was, and I ended up playing around basically, and he ended up killing me.
Right.
But the next time I walked in, I immediately used the item so I had no mana cost, and I was like, it's holy time, bitch.
That happens a lot when you go into a fight in RPGs and you get your ass kicked for the first time.
Like,
I've had
all
that. I've had that happen in certain games, and I go back in. Like I don't go train. I just go right back into the fight. Like now I figured it out. Figured it out. I know what you do.
This shit works.
Yep. Now
Let's
I'm gonna beat
do
your
this.
ass.
So
But
we're done visually.
visually, the game does not stand the test of time.
So the next thing we do is play it.
And
Now-
it fucking awesome.
The materia. The materia. Putting it in your weapon, putting it in your armor. That was sweet.
Materia, I still feel, even today, is the best stat magic system there's ever been.
For me, it's always been the second best. Final Fantasy VIII's Junction.
Get the fuck.
Love it. Love it.
Junction was kind of cool, but it's too easy to break.
Junction my balls.
And the fact that if you don't have the ability or items
He
to
is
make
really
magic
getting this
you
knife
need,
ready.
That is way too time consuming and retarded.
It is time consuming.
That's why I said, if you
He
don't
says,
have the items...
"Ching! What are you doing? I'm drawing 99
Nine
magic to up my levels."
That is way too time consuming and retarded.
But it's actually 100 magics.
When did we stop? When did we stop just kicking their asses as fast as we could?
I'm here to help. Ching, ching, ching. I'm sorry, my game allows only 3 to a party. What? Boom!
He just blows up. I can't remember what that movie is, but it's on YouTube.
Yes,
It's hilarious. If I remember what it was, I would
Send
get
a
a
link.
link.
Send a
Final
link.
Fantasy Action Figure Theater or something like that.
I don't know, dude. It was hilarious, though.
If we can remember, we can send a link. But
I don't know what it
Someday we
is.
might remember and let the world know. That or just look up Final Fantasy Action
I'm sure
Figure
I'll post
Theater.
it. I'll post it on our group page if I can
It's
find
funny. It's funny to watch Steiner
But-
blow up.
But it's just the fact,
Wait,
like,
are you
all
sure
right,
it wasn't Robot Chicken?
it. No.
it was not Robot Chicken.
Felt like a robot chicken-esque type dealie, but it wasn't.
But no, it's like you throw some materia on, depending on which weapon you have, actually dictates the
And certain-
materia growth. Like, certain weapons might only have, like, 2 slots
Or-
that are not linked.
And sometimes,
But it'll give you, like, quadruple APs, so you fight a battle, I'm like, oh, look, I'm a Materia's Master now.
And then
Sweet,
sometimes
let's swap that out.
sometimes you'd run into the weapon that didn't have any materia slots. You're like, oh, this is basic.
Or you run into the one that gives you 3 times the amount of AP, but it only carries like 4, and you can't link any of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
basically what I just said.
Linking, though, was a big deal.
Yeah.
Was why I
Yeah,
brought it up.
If you linked, say, Kieran, or a Master to Kieran, a Master to all, you can use all the Cure
Yeah,
spells.
but that's basic. Like, there were some really
You could really-
sneaky
Well,
ass
I'm just
links.
using that as
You
a
could
starting
really
bit.
mix
You can
and
use
match.
that to actually be able to cast Cure on everybody.
Yeah.
If you throw on Final Attack and Phoenix, and the person that has that on is the last guy living, he gets offed. He goes, oh no, party what? Oh wait, never mind, Phoenix.
Yeah, but that's even basic to me. I liked things like you could do like there was like an all and like a 4 times cut or something like that. I can't remember
And
what it was.
you would
would
attack
hit the-
4 times.
yeah.
Yep.
And you would hit like everyone on the screen with a regular attack 4 times or something.
So if you're doing 9,999,
There were real
you're
sneaky
rocking
things like that.
the game.
I'm trying to remember, there's a couple other ones. Like if you set Mime and MP Absorb, I think it is one of the abilities. You can just constantly keep mimicking people's stuff and get magic back. It's like, oh no, out of mana. Oh wait, never mind, I got this.
Yeah.
Final Attack and W Summon was one of the funny ones to use because
Okay.
you would just randomly cast a summon when you die.
So let's break this down then. Let's do this. We've done magic system. Now let's say control. So
More
ever
like
a point in
control
the
all
game,
the characters.
yes, control of the
Awesome.
characters.
Well,
Especially, well, the only downside to that was the limit breaks.
I have
It
one
took away
complaint.
my ability to attack.
My complaint is different. Everything was at an angle. Everything was at an angle. The game was built to be quote-unquote 3D, but you were still walking on what we couldn't understand. We were still walking on a 2D background.
Yeah, it was 2.5.
So what was going on was, in order to make it seem 3D, when you hit up, you didn't go up. You went like diagonally up left. And then when you hit right, you would go like diagonally up right kind of movement. And then you'd hit down, and that would be like diagonally down right. And then left was diagonally left right.
Well,
Yeah.
the controls.
Sorry, diagonally left down.
I'm
Left
trying to
right, that'd
remember.
be confusing.
I thought that. I thought
What, you mean like what it told me to do when I was trying to play FF1?
Right.
Go
also
left,
thought
then
we
right?
were just using the pad back then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 7 did not have the.
They used
Yeah.
they used the D-pad.
8.
But
I think
that's-
8 was the
Which
first
is one of those things where since, like, the very first... Okay, 7 was the first one that I ever saw, but, like, after playing Super Mario RPG for so many years, when it come down to that point, it's like, okay, so now you gotta... Okay, so it's just Super Mario RPG. Okay, alright,
I used to confuse myself. Because it would piss me off. I wouldn't think about it for a second. I would like put the controller down, do something, pick it back up, and then like I would see that I need to go down or something, so I'd hit the button and he'd like move awkwardly and go out the door. So I'd be like, damn it! I have to go back in the door because he doesn't go down. He moves at these awkward angles to make it seem like he's in 3D, but he's not.
I actually, if I remember right,
The world map is the only time that he moves normal.
Yeah.
well, I remember another thing I thought it was different. Like other, especially in the later Final Fantasies, to go to your menu, I believe it was triangle.
Yeah.
yeah.
But 7, I think, was circle. I found that was strange.
Circle was accept in Final Fantasy VII. I
Yeah,
think.
that's
Yeah.
because what
Was
I
it
had was
accept?
I
See,
kept
Yeah.
pushing X.
Cancel.
I kept pushing X. It's like it
And
doesn't
X
do
was the
anything.
cancel.
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah, because
Japan,
that was driving me
in
nuts. I was
Japan,
like,
the control scheme is
Little diff-
more set to X being cancel
and
and
circle
circle being
confirm.
accept.
Yeah.
Because
And here
circle
it's
is usually
backwards.
like the thumbs
See,
up thing.
that is
X
what
meaning
I now
back.
remember.
Yeah.
That was what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I
It
meant.
throws you
Yeah,
off.
it's
That's annoying
kind
as
of like
fuck.
when you're
I
playing
think
like
there's a way
the
to
Super Mario.
Fix
or,
that though if you don't like it like that. I think
You can fix it, but
Yeah.
normally when you just start a game, you just
Not
try to
gonna
learn
lie,
the
I did.
control right off the bat.
Yeah, I just.
But
played
yeah,
the
no,
game.
it's kind of like when you were playing like Paper Mario and you were doing the quiz. It was like, oh, you got a correct answer. Circle. Oh, you failed. X.
It was almost like it's like Metal Gear too. Metal Gear loved the circle button
Yeah.
until you finally got into like Snake Eater. Want to say when they finally where you could
And
use
all of a
X.
sudden, it was like that confused the shit out of me too, because it took like a couple hours because I played those games and I'm good at them, and all of a sudden I'm trying to do something and I keep making these mistakes that are completely friggin' amateur mistakes, but I'm doing them because the controller is backwards. That's kind of like Tekken did that shit to people. People got really into Tekken. Like in the PlayStation era, there were other games, yes, but Tekken had this throwdown that happened where all of a sudden, overnight, you went Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, and like I think the tag, and they all had this normal control scheme. Then Part 4 comes out. They completely changed the controller overnight. And people that got into 4 were like, what the fuck? Because none of your moves work. Everything's confusing. The controller is ass backwards.
That's something I could not help you with because I only played Tekken 3.
Right.
I liked Tekken 3 a lot.
Tekken 3 you
But
like because of chicken.
It's really weird because I don't like Tekken at all. I think Tekken's a crappy fighting game. And I know there's a lot of fans. This is my opinion. So
I'm not a huge fan of Tekken.
I hate Tekken.
What is wrong?
It's my opinion. Tekken sucks ass.
Yeah, I hate it too.
I'm not a big fan
Too
of it
choppy in
myself,
my
honestly.
opinion. Fluid fighting games like DOA
I like DOA.
because it's fluid.
Uh-huh.
There's really no choppiness to it. Like Mortal Kombat.
For me, it's Mortal Kombat Street Fighter.
I don't like...
Mortal
I don't
Kombat's gotten
like-
better.
I don't like Mortal Kombat when it went 3D, but there are gimmicks to it that are enjoyable. Like, I still have a good time with it because it's gimmicky. And I like seeing all the fatalities, and I like interacting with the environment. And I think the only time that Mortal Kombat's system has been done right is Injustice.
Yeah.
Injustice when they first started, it started getting better. And then
With all the environmental things, and then it's still just as choppy, but adding in the environment and all the specials and everything, and
I really
the
feel
characters feel more
I really feel like NetherRealm is doing this on purpose. I think it's something kind of like a nostalgia thing. Like Mortal Kombat's been choppy since it first came out, and up till now it's still choppy, but it's not as choppy. You can tolerate it. Now, when the new Mortal Kombat 10 comes out, or X, or whatever,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, because I finally seen a gameplay trailer, I'm not seeing choppy. I'm not seeing choppy at all. I won't know until next year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I won't know.
It's not going to
It's
play
early
like
gameplay.
DOA.
Nothing
Period.
is going to play like DOA because even Virtual Fighter tried it and it still had its choppy feel to it.
Virtual Fighter gave their characters to DOA, like, make these better.
I remember because if you play like as the in Virtual
And
Fighter
Akira
5, you play
still
as the monk.
sucks.
If you play as the monk, he feels choppy when because he uses different fighting styles. He still doesn't feel right. But then you go to DOA, and every character, whether it's a good character like fucking
Basically, if you
Ayane
cannot...
or Hitome, to terrible characters like Base,
Yeah, but even if you are using him,
he still
I think
moves.
his name is actually Bass. I really think that's his name. I can't say this 100%, but I think it's like I've never heard them say his name.
I'm only going with Base is because Mega Man, Base.
Right. But yeah, he I want to say that when you use him, the reason you lose is because he's slower.
Yes.
But if you learn your countering and things like that,
He can beat.
there
You
really
can win.
is no character that is at a disadvantage in that game.
No.
Everybody has something about them that's awesome. Like if you use Bayman.
Bayman
and
will break you.
people.
He breaks the shit out of me.
Or if
Or
you
you
claim,
could always do the Million Man March to Moscow like I always do.
or if you claim
Keep
you can,
walking.
or if you claim you can use Hayabusa, but you can't really use them very well because you can only do one attack.
But if we're done with
look at me.
Teleporting thing, man, you can't never finish it.
I can.
Every time I see you play it,
If we're
you got
done
to
with
the point,
control,
but you
if we're
couldn't
done with
finish it.
control, we're
You're
on
having
another
issues.
subject.
Anyway.
If we're done with control, we're on another subject.
Story.
The next aspect of gameplay is side arc gameplay. Separate
Oh.
mechanics.
Okay.
Oh boy. They
Motorcycle scene
They announced that new motorcycle one.
is actually going to be they're gonna bring it to the phone.
Yeah, it's going to be for the iDevices.
Yep.
So
That's gonna be sweet.
You can actually download the
Nice.
motorcycle game. That's going to be sweet.
it's
I'm
going
going
to be like kind of like the Advent Children.
Yeah.
But also
Mhm.
something else. So
the motorcycle scene.
The submarine fight.
I hated that.
The snowboard.
Snowboarding was awesome. The motorcycle was awesome.
The
submarine sucked.
the
Submarine
fighting.
was pretty poop.
The terrible fighting game.
Oh yes, and Gold Saucer.
The Moogle Life game.
Oh
That was
God!
dumb.
It's not, but it is a side mechanic. It's a
Yeah.
side
The arm
control
wrestling.
mechanic.
There's an arm wrestling
arm
thing.
wrestling
I never
mechanic.
lost. But that fighting, I always lose.
That's a rock,
Yeah.
paper, scissors thing.
Yep.
There's never a guarantee that you're going to win it.
Yeah,
I've played it, Bill, and I've lost every time. I don't win that game.
Yeah.
But when it comes to arm wrestling, I'm always winning that. And then that Moogle Life game, I'm just like,
yeah. I know. I hated it, but it was the only way to
But this-
actually
but then
get
as-
the
as-
shit.
farther you get in the game, you unlock like the snowboarding. Snowboarding was sweet. It was
Snowboarding's
actually so
awesome.
good they brought it as a separate game.
Yep.
Now they're bringing the motorcycle to a separate
Which
game.
is the one that everybody's been asking for.
Now
for
the
a
submarine
long time.
part, they don't need to bring that as that sucked.
The submarine.
No, they need to bring it on
Actually-
a special phone that only Shane can buy.
What's interesting about the submarine thing?
It's the only app on there.
It's pretty funny. The submarine thing that you hate.
Yeah.
When Twisted Metal was a big game, there were all these different games that were coming out that were trying to fight Twisted Metal. There was one game that came out, which was Vigilante 8. Everybody remembers that. But an obscure game that came out actually was Twisted Metal in water. It was a submarine battling game, and the coolest thing about it was that it was underwater. You would be in like these temples, and there was up and down and left and right, all 360 degrees in both axes, and it was confusing. You would like be, and all of a sudden something would be killing you, and you'd be like, where's it killing me from? I can't just turn around and see it killing me. It could be hitting me from the bottom, the top, the left, the right, the back.
I'm all turned around. I don't
Yeah.
know which direction.
Like, it could get confusing, but it was a neat gimmicky game.
I just didn't like this. I just didn't like that mini game. The motorcycle was sweet,
So best mini game is motorcycle for you?
snowboard.
Snowboard?
I like the snowboarding.
I like the motorcycle the most.
I like the fact that there were so many different
Yeah.
aspects.
Yeah.
It kept things interesting because you'd play for like 6 hours or so, and all of a sudden they'd be like, by the way,
There were certain
awesomeness.
in the game when I got access to the high wind, there'd be times where I went back to Gold Saucer just to play the games.
Right.
You know, just to explore Gold Saucer.
And that says something about
the Chocobo racing.
Oh, the battle arena.
Arena?
That's a separate game mechanic.
Chocobo racing, that's a separate game?
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
actually,
The Chocobo racing.
The Chocobo racing was slightly annoying after the 10,000th race that way.
I won
you're
and
trying
lost.
to get your,
I won and lost.
Well, it's just because you're trying to go get that gold Chocobo, but it takes for fucking ever.
So, like, there are a bunch of mini games in the game, and most of them are good. There's a few that are terrible, but just exploring Gold Saucer was a complete. Even though you had to go there for the first time as part of the story, then after that it's a complete side thing. You just go back to fuck around.
So, segue. Speaking of story, the next thing we did was engross ourselves in the tale. Everybody's allowed to bring up 2 parts they like about the story, or for that matter, hate.
Okay, I'll go first. One part I hated. Probably the part that everybody hated. I hated when Eris died. I put too much work into her. I put too much work into her for her to die.
I love it.
For you, is because of a story base.
Yes.
It moves the story. For me, it's completely different.
I love proper drama. Proper drama to me is because you put that time in.
Yes.
You cared.
First time I played the game, I actually went out of my way to go and get her fucking.
I put all that work
That's
into her.
what makes it so special.
Twice.
That's why I like it so much that she died, because it felt so more real. Like other characters in games, like when you play Persona 1 and your butler dies at the start of the game, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
I don't know you.
I don't even know your name. Who cares? Or like in Final Fantasy 13, they're like, this little girl turned to crystal, and I'm like, so? Who the fuck? I don't even know.
You didn't give us enough background for us to give a fuck about Lightning's sister.
I'm like,
well, you start getting background
as the game goes on.
Yeah, but
it's too late because she's already
too late, and the impact moment is already gone, and I don't give a fuck. I gave more of a fuck when it looked like Saz was going to kill himself, but then they copped out on that one and took all the drama out by literally not even a minute, not even 30 fucking seconds after he shoots himself, being like, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't shoot myself.
The more impact of those games was the end of 13 too.
You've got to create a connection with a character in order for you to give a fuck. If you watch something like, just for reference, if you watch Smallville for 10 years, and at the end of 10 years they killed Lois,
I would have been pissed.
I would have been more than pissed.
I would have been irate. That would have sucked.
That is good drama. They connect you to a character. Think about Power Rangers years ago when they took Green Ranger's power.
Sad.
Now, you were a little kid, and it felt like he was never coming back. That hit you as a child.
I was
like,
no!
A couple episodes later, he's like, oh, White Ranger.
There's actually more than a couple.
Because it's way more, because he leaves the show and then comes back in an episode called like A Return of an Old Friend, and it's a 2-parter. And when he comes back, they give him his Green Ranger powers, and it feels like he's back, but it's in the back of your mind that he's not back.
It's
because
killing
he's
him.
slowly dying, and then he does finally lose his powers completely, and he leaves the show, and you're like, well, that was that.
It's because right now I'm watching, Tommy is,
he's in flux.
Actually, the 5 Rangers will go do something, and Tommy is always off doing like training and stuff. Or always got a call.
That's because he's got to save as much energy as he can.
And then he'll come and save the day. Well, eventually it gets to a point where Zordon realizes that the power's temporary. He's losing it.
Right.
So he won't jump into action as much. He'll only morph when necessary to save whatever power he's got. And then when he loses it, you're like, no! There goes the Green Ranger.
They even give him a goodbye ceremony and make him leave the show.
And then he comes back in season 2.
He does, but that right there counts as a cop-out. They couldn't kill him. They kill him in the original series. They can't kill him in our series. But when you play a game, when you watch a show, you have to invest yourself in a character to give a shit. So when they killed Eris, I count that as a like. I think that's one of the best pros in history. I never played a game at that point where when the main character died, I gave a shit.
Tella dies in 4.
And I didn't give a shit. I honestly
I
did.
kind
When
of
I
gave
was
a
a
shit when
kid,
Tella died.
when I was a kid, for some reason that didn't hit me because Tella was in and out of the party constantly.
What about Porum
He
and
wasn't
Palom when
like
they get
Eris.
turned to, when they get
Eris-
petrified?
Eris was the first fucking thing you saw.
Yes. Yes, she was the first character you see.
She was the most important character in the game.
Well, like
She
the
was
whole
first
story
person you
was
see.
revolving around her.
They give you that slight encounter with her.
Yeah.
Then you end up finding her in the church. Then she joins your team. Her personality is perfect. She's got such a charisma about her that you're instantly like, I like this character.
And then, but see, I told you, like I said, the only thing that pissed me off, the reason why I don't like the fact that she died is because I put that work into her, and then when I lost her,
But you'll never forget it. So
Oh, no,
that's
I-
a pro.
so I guess it's a pro and con.
Right.
So it's
You might not like losing her, but the fact that they never give her back, that's also important too, because like in Final Fantasy IV, they're like, this guy died, this guy died, this guy died, this guy died, and like at the end of the game,
Everybody's dead.
everybody but Tella comes back, and because that killed some of the feeling, because I felt like with everybody dying, and then me keep finding him in other places, when Tella died, I just shrugged it off, like,
Okay, same thing with 4. What about when Porum and Palom get petrified?
it doesn't matter, they just come back.
They do just come back.
Yeah.
The
But
impact is
actually, the
completely
Japanese
lost.
version of Final Fantasy IV, you get unstoned Paladin Porum.
Right.
Actually,
When Eris died, she was dead.
when I first played 9, in the beginning when
Blanc.
Blanc or Blank, whatever, when he got petrified, I didn't think he was coming back. I thought he was gone for good. I'm like, no!
But no, they cop out. They bring it back.
Because you can get a super soft.
Yeah,
So who
you have
cares?
to go and find one. or
That's
something
just like when
that.
superheroes die.
You actually get it no
nowadays.
matter. You really get it no matter what. I didn't do no side arc to get the super soft. I'm just playing the story and
That's
I get
just
it.
like when superheroes die. It doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares. When they killed
But
Superman
came
originally,
back, yeah.
there was a funeral procession. Thousands
But, like-
of people showed up to bury a comic book and cry. He got a fucking 21 gun salute.
But when
And then
Eris,
he came right back like the next
But when-
week.
Right.
but when
And it's a cop out.
but when
now
Eris
when Eris dies, she's dead.
when she comes back, she only comes back in like visions or dreams. But she's not physically there. She's dead.
That is
Even in
perfect.
Advent Children.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
He
perfect
sees her.
storytelling.
He sees her.
I still,
But she's
But
Zack.
she's not really.
But
I
she's
still
not there.
remember all the theories on how to bring Aerith back. from
and
the
it's all
internet.
a bunch
It
of
was
dog
hilarious.
shit. That's
No,
another
some
thing.
of them were really well written.
But
People
that's
went out
another
of their
thing.
way to try to resurrect her.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. You
Phoenix
care.
down, Phoenix down,
The
Phoenix
story
down.
works so well
They call
that
it
you
the Phoenix
care
down that
enough.
didn't work.
You care so much that you would go through that bullshit to try to bring her back, and none of it was true. And it was all made up because people knew what kind of impact it was. Name one other game where a character dies where you gave that much of a fuck.
Legend
Name
of the
one.
Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon, yeah.
Who?
Lavitz.
Lavitz, yes.
And they replace him with another character.
Albert.
They replaced him with
But
Albert.
he still does.
But
But he,
for God's sakes, it took for fucking ever to
But
get used
they
to
did,
Albert.
Yeah, but they replaced
Lavitz
him
and Albert
with
were
another
so
character. That's
different.
my only
Attitude,
That's the only
everything.
thing that gets me. They don't replace Eris.
no, they don't. You know, you lost. You completely lost one of your teammates. They don't replace it. The reason with Dragoon, it was an impact because you didn't see it coming.
Right?
But they give you Albert, who plays sword. I mean, they both use the lance, but they're but he's
They
so much
fight-
faster.
Their timing,
He's more agile, but he's not as strong.
their timing
Right.
is different,
Yeah.
but I remember something about, if I remember right, it has something to do with the work you did with Lavitz somehow transfers to that character.
It's the same. It's the same syndrome as Final Fantasy V. When you lose Galif and
Yeah.
get what the fuck's her name? The creepy stare into your soul lady.
Yeah.
It's through his armlet she got his powers.
Right,
Well,
so it's a cop-out.
through the soul of the dragoon.
You don't lose any of your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that comes down to it. With Eris, when she died, she's dead.
Well, you still keep all the materia she worked on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's not there to work on it anymore.
It's true.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is dead.
So
Yeah, because the only other thing that I can honestly think of where once a character dies, you honestly give a fuck is Fire Emblem. That's the only other thing I can
That's
think
because
of.
when they're
I'll
dead,
give
they're
that.
dead.
That's fair to say too. The only
You
thing I
spend
won't,
all your time building up a dude, and then all of a sudden, he's dead.
he falls
Fuck!
in combat because of one of your stupid mistakes,
And you lost him for good.
and you are pissed because he is actually gone.
You only have one choice to keep him.
You don't get him back. You
Turn
know,
it off,
unless you restart the
yeah.
game.
I could think of one. Well, if anybody knows this, the first Phoenix Wright game.
Yes, I played
The
it.
Oh yeah,
woman
your
who's-
boss.
Well, I don't know if it was his boss or his assistant, but it's like the next case after the first one. Guess what? She's dead.
No, that's his boss. Mia Fey
Yeah.
was his boss.
So what do you like, Shane?
Well-
you got one more.
You said I get 2 pros and 2 cons? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, well then there's
You've
1
already
pro
used
and 1
one.
con right there.
You've already used one of these.
Second pro is I like the explanation. What I mean is because at the time we didn't have Crisis Core.
No.
And there were so many things wrong with Cloud's story about how he was telling it.
You mean the revelation
Yes,
that he is
when he
is
realized
not
he's
there?
living Zach's life.
Yep.
That I like. I wanted my explanation because there's parts in the game where you're like, something's off.
Something doesn't seem right.
Your story is off. Eris recognizing you remind her of somebody. The whole
See, that's a weird
you
thing.
actually go to Zach's parents' house.
No, see, that's a weird thing, though. How the fuck did Aerith not recognize him? She's met him several times.
When?
And at that time, in Crisis
Core.
they met a lot. But we're talking 7. We didn't have Crisis Core. We didn't know who Zach was.
Did they meet face to face in
Who?
Crisis Core?
Who?
Because I thought Zach
Eric-
always went to see her by himself.
Eris and Zach, yeah, they were like dating pretty
Yeah,
much. Yeah,
but Cloud.
I could have sworn.
Cloud did not.
I don't think Cloud meets her face to face.
Eric, no.
So
No.
it makes sense that when
Because
she
he-
meets
because
she
he-
doesn't
With
know him.
Tifa, it doesn't.
Wasn't it always Tifa and Cloud?
What
do you mean with
Yes,
Tifa
because
it
they're
doesn't?
both from Nibelheim. Yes.
Tifa
That was his-
knew instantly. That's not a flaw in the story. When he first claims that he was Zach, she keeps asking him through that whole story. She goes, "Are you sure it happened like that? Is that right? Did you really do that? Are you sure about that?"
There was many inconsistencies.
Because she keeps telling him
to
she
what
doesn't
Cloud was
remember any
saying.
of that.
But when you finally get to the part where he falls into the life stream and shit starts making sense.
She's the one that
They
tells him to his face, "It didn't happen like that." She tells him.
Yeah, but the thing
The
is,
part
she was like, "Are you sure?"
In
Are you
Nibelheim,
sure?
Because
when Sephiroth
She could have
lost
just
his
been
mind.
like, "That ain't how it happened, jackass."
But that's part of her
The fact-
story. She wants him to be Cloud.
For
That
God's
was
sake.
her friend. She finds him in like a weird comatose state. She doesn't know what's wrong with him. When his memories start coming back, they're not right.
Yeah, it's
And
something-
she doesn't have the heart to tell him that something is wrong with him.
So, like I said, when you get to the game where he falls into the live stream and shit starts making sense, he starts reliving those memories that he had. But now Zach's there.
And she's the one that's challenged directly because he looks to her and says, "But no, because you seen me there." And she goes, "Honestly, Cloud, no."
You were there, but you were a Shinra security.
She doesn't even tell him that. By what she remembers, he wasn't there at all.
No,
She didn't see him.
she didn't
once.
see him because he had the helmet on.
She sees him one time,
And
but
she's,
when
like,
she
passing
sees him,
out.
she's almost dying.
Yeah,
And
'Cause she
she
gets-
just
gets
kind of
suffer-
considers it a weird dream when she wakes
like
up.
a near-death experience,
Right.
that type of thing. Yeah. Well,
So he is considered to be not there. And when she tells him that, it breaks him.
then
That's not a flaw in
he
the story.
find-
That's
but-
perfect.
No, that's what I like. I got the answers. That's a pro.
Because like you said, she gives you plenty of tips. She's giving you tips from the first time you see her. When she starts telling you little things, she tells you a bold-ass fucking lie to see what your response will be. She says, "Yeah, you and Barrett used to fight all the time." No, you didn't.
You didn't even know who Barrett was.
That's what I mean.
You just joined Avalanche.
Barrett worked in the fucking mining towns. He didn't grow up with you.
Coral Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up there. Yeah, he was far from
And it
Nibelheim.
gives you an answer
Yeah.
that you can give And with no matter what answer you give, she gives you kind of like a standoffish response, like, yeah, I guess you've come a long way, but it's bullshit. He was not there.
Let's see. That was my pro. I like that story part.
Well, that's your 2.
And then I got one more con.
You already did a con.
He did 1 con. He didn't do 2.
I said 2 things, though, and then we got to bring
no.
something
You
else
said
up.
2 pros, 2 cons.
Oh, we'd be here all night.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have heard you wrong. That's
We're
my
already-
fault.
No, because I heard 2 pros, 2 cons.
We're
also.
already at an hour.
Yeah. Okay. No, those are the big points of mine.
I said,
Go ahead, Seth.
bring 2 things up you like, or for that matter, 2 things you hate.
Well, technically, the Eris thing is a love-hate situation, and then the whole story of when finally Cloud gets his memory back. I love that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Seth.
Picking a pro is kind of like it's kind of difficult for me because the last thing I remember doing was I got that stupid little
Buggy?
Yeah, the buggy. Because you gotta remember, I never played it. I was in the middle of going back through it, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Here's games," and I was like, "Oh God, new games!"
So you only played to the
So
part
I
where
only
you got out
got
of the
so
prison.
far, but I could tell you, guaranteed that one of the major negatives that just kept driving me up the goddamn wall was, like, you guys had already warned me about, okay, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And the thing that kept driving me nuts was I had to redo that one fight 2 or 3 times when you're trying to get out of the Shenra Corp. Because, like an idiot, I gotta fight in an elevator.
Yeah.
I have a Barrett and 2 people that can't fucking attack.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't have magics.
You don't have
Yeah.
magics, and Barrett's the only one that can hit him because of the range. Yeah.
And
Well, no,
his
you can
attacks
use
are
your
weak.
limit break.
Yeah.
That's it. I gotta wait for them to get their asses whooped.
Mm-hmm.
First time I died, then I screwed up and had to die again because I fucked up and didn't change the party. I'm like, you sons of bitches!
Yeah. And that part does suck.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, so that drove me nuts.
That would be your con right there because you hate
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, oh my god. But a pro, I gotta say,
Seeing the fat president stabbed, that was sweet.
oh,
Dude was a
God.
dick and he was fat, and
Dude
Sephiroth
got fucked.
Sephiroth made him pay.
Like a bitch.
Yeah.
Can't think.
No, I can't even think of one because I just want to slap the shit out of you right now. Wait, where's my knife? I still gotta stab you later. I don't know. I guess I could just go with another con because Bill said 2 things. So the other one was my dumbass running through the desert 30 times and then going, "What the fuck am I doing wrong?" And then realizing, oh, so I've got to go that and why didn't anybody tell me I needed to talk to the dude and learn how to fuck to get my ass out of this fucking endless desert? Because if you didn't happen to wait for a chocobo cart to walk by, you're just walking through a desert. Endlessly. Being pissed off.
Pretty much. Scott, what you got?
Well, technically, shouldn't you go since?
He's a special guest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter because Bill hasn't gone yet either.
Bill likes to go last.
Yeah.
You know better.
Which means special guest can go now. It doesn't matter.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, first off, my major con is the death
It's everyone's
because
con.
because it's a bad thing.
Well, it wasn't mine, but that's because you guys had already told me, so I
And that's
already
because you
knew.
didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
But,
no.
yeah,
Even making it that far, I wouldn't have done like you idiots. I wasn't even spending time on her.
Well,
So I was like, oh, she's dead? Out my party.
she's your fucking healer. Of course I'm going to keep her.
No, because I could put cure materials on anybody.
But
and
her,
give
her
rat's
limit
ass.
breaks were healing a bit.
I know they were.
But
for me, when I played Final Fantasy VII, actually played it, I only got until the actual motorcycle chase from.
That's
So I was
as
still,
far as you got. You didn't.
I-
Even
I was
go-
still
You
on-
didn't even get out of Midgard.
as far as playing, I've seen the rest of it, so I know the story, and that's where my plus is the story, the heart of the game,
yeah, actually, it does have an engrossing tale.
which is also why
It's just-
The ending-
an
the ending
engrossing
itself-
tale, like when you decide that you need to date Barrett at the Gold Sauce.
I've never had that happen. I've been with Tifa, and I've been with Eris, but I never got Barrett. And
I
could have sworn.
I purposely tried to get Barrett, and
I could
yeah,
have
was like,
sworn.
"Fuck."
I might be wrong. I may have read something wrong, but I thought you could have went with Red too.
You have to be the biggest douche ever
To everybody.
to every girl and never do a single thing nice. Like when Eris very first shows up and she's like, "Oh, hey, you what happened?" You got to say something like, "You better get out of here." Instead of talking to her and getting a flower, because even talking to her that one time puts like a positive point on her.
Pretty much is you have to be a dick to every girl and be nice to Barrett.
And there's a couple chances you get to answer Barrett questions, like when he's like, "Hey, can you teach me how to use magic?" You got to be like, "Yes, I would love to do that for you."
Technically, when it came down to that, I was always nice to the ladies, and I told Barrett to go fuck himself.
Yeah. But
So-
yes, it is possible to date Barrett.
So you
Yes,
you say your pro is a story.
The story, because it
is a good story. It really is.
It's a great story.
It really is.
And the con was, the death of Eris.
Everyone's con, except for Bill.
But it did move along the story though. So
It
So
helped a
it's-
lot.
It turned back into a pro.
Yeah,
I
because of the
see that as
story.
a pro.
It's for me, like I told you, it's a pro con. It sucks that I lost her with all the work I put into her. It moves the story and it gives you something to fight for now. Now motherfucker gotta die for what he did.
I guess it's over to me. Con, the amount of work it took for me to get a goddamn gold chocobo.
It takes a lot of
sometimes.
work to get one. Yes, it takes.
Because sometimes when you breed the chocobos, you don't get what you need, even though you've done everything perfectly.
That's right.
It
Gotta
pisses
keep
off.
breeding. And
And then you gotta wait like for fucking forever just to get them to try again.
it
Just
was
to fail again.
it was time consuming, but
And retarded.
yes,
The other thing, it's a pro and a con. It'd be the fights against the weapons.
Oh,
Like fighting Emerald Weapon, if you didn't have the underwater materia,
20
you had a time limit.
20 minutes. That's all
which
you get.
I never really needed after a while because I found the most broken ability ever. I just have Cloud Omni Slash and then Mime It. Victory. So that way I don't have to throw materials on people. Well, Emerald Weapon has one douchey thing about him. It's called Air Tam Storm. Depends on how much material you have on a character, it does 1,000 damage.
So you have a lot of
If you have 9 materias on,
that's a lot.
dead.
It's a lot of damage.
it's instant KO if you have 9 or more materials.
Ruby was always the worst.
Ruby was the worst because he'll kill characters, and after he kills a character, he'll suck them out of the battle with a weird sand trap. So you have to enter the battle initially with 2 dead people.
yeah, I remember that crap. That was the trick to beating him, was going in with dead people.
And then you had to wait until he stabbed into the ground to be able to do any damage to him.
Yeah, he was a pain. Diamond is just story,
Well, Diamond's story,
and
Ultima's... Well, Ultima Weapon is technically skippable. He just flies around.
Yeah, you don't have to fight him.
But
You
if
leave
you
him
want
alone.
Cloud's ultimate weapon,
You fight him.
You go
And
fight that
he's
motherfucker.
not hard.
No,
No, he's pretty simple.
no, man. Ruby is the
Weapon's
hardest.
and he makes you rage.
What makes Emerald hard is just because it's the time limit.
Yep.
But
if you don't
there's
have
a
the
way around
underwater
time
material-
limit, so you don't have to worry about it.
If you have the underwater material, which,
Yeah.
but if you get that, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you accidentally skipped it, then you're like, shit, 20 minutes, let's do this.
Pretty much. So those are mine.
All right, Bill, it's up to you.
Well, other than the motorcycle chase scene, because that was just fucking...
The snowboarding is also a pro for me.
So, over to you, Guy.
Okay, no joke. Honestly, I guess one of the biggest things is the end of the game when it shows his he asks for forgiveness. He's willing to stand there and die at the end of the game. And he's just standing there. It's real subtle, but it's a big story element that a lot of people don't even pick up on. After he kills Sephiroth, he just stands there and waits for death. He knows it's on him, but he doesn't care. He's He's willing to die because of his failure to save Eris. He feels like he's the reason she's dead. And it's his fault and he should pay for it. But what happens is at the very end, there's this light. And a hand comes down from the light. It's Eris. He reaches up and he touches that hand. He's forgiven. Now, as soon as that happens, and he accepts that, reality snaps in, and he was never holding a hand at all. Tifa's holding her hand out, and he hasn't reached her yet.
It's just one of them. Yeah, he was forgiven.
It's a subtle thing, but then they throw that away when they go to the movie, and he's like, I just want to be forgiven. And I'm like, that already happened.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Like, calm down.
I mean, and all of them wear the freaking thing in memory of her.
And my second thing is that this game was so big
Truly.
that for the first time ever, I got to see a Final Fantasy continue.
Yeah.
For me, that is a pro because there's a lot of things that I do. Like when I play games and I watch shows, I try to speculate what happens next.
Right.
Like, what about that? Or what if this would have happened? Or no. Or what about, like, how do you go back to your life?
The fact that 7 got a prequel game, Crisis Core, before Crisis, cell phone game, and then it got Dirge of Cerberus. Even though it's a Vincent game.
Got an anime, too.
Yeah.
It got the anime,
An animated movie.
It got 2
Yep.
animes, 2 small anime shorts, and a CG movie.
Yes. And then, even though...
And then the characters are so big, they appeared in fighting games.
Yep, and even though...
And Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts. And then, even Vincent got his own game. Even though, it showed everybody else, it was still a continuation because it took place a year after the movie. So, it kept going. I mean, as far as I know, Dirge of Cerberus ended it.
Biggest
That's
legacy
my biggest con.
the Android
or
games,
pro,
too.
sorry.
Yeah, Android games. Yeah, it just keeps going.
That's my
The
biggest
only
pro.
thing we're not getting is a remake of
Which
the main
is what we all
game.
want.
Watch
We
them,
want to see it
watch
updated.
them remake Crisis Core. And not
They'll do that. They'll do that before 7.
Nah,
No, the
Include
thing
it
is,
as a collection.
no, the
Crisis
thing
Core
is,
7, and I'll even throw in fucking Dirge of Cerberus.
one of their
Just do
big
it.
ideas about why they did the battle engine in Dirge of Cerberus, or not Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, they were thinking about using that for the Final Fantasy VII remake.
I've heard that, and that has to be speculative. It has
Speculation.
to be. There's no way that they would have such
that's why I
a
said they were
backlash.
thinking about it.
Man, if it ain't broke,
If
don't
they
fix
if they
it.
even considered that, then they all need fire.
7's battle system was good.
People talk about 14, and there's that rumor where the entire production staff was fired for producing the first 14. Listen, if they even considered changing the Final Fantasy VII battle system to give you one character and proceed you through the game, they all need fired.
Yeah.
Every single person that even considered it
It was
needs
probably
fired.
the same staff member.
Because they don't know shit
No.
about their own legacy.
No, like I said, it's the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 7 had a good fighting system.
Because they haven't done that to a single other game they've remade.
No, they did.
They
When they did the
haven't
complete,
changed the battle
when they did the
systems.
complete collection for 4, you didn't get a different battle system.
If there's a battle system that needs a
No, the
changing,
only
it's probably part 1 because it's so old and outdated.
yeah,
It's still fun, but it's the
you can
most
still make
basic
it.
thing
You can still
ever.
make it turn-based. Just change some things.
Now, if they're not willing to change that, there's no way they're changing 7.
Or if they do a remake of 7, it's a possibility they could do what they're doing with 15 and make it that action type RPG. When you see the trailer, he's all over the damn place.
I just hope it doesn't turn into Type 0.
Type 0 is actually, we're getting that game for PS4
Yeah,
and
but
Xbox
that's
One.
a card game, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't
It's
know that.
basically a card battle.
I'm not
type
gonna lie,
system.
I didn't know. I heard they're bringing it over here for the Xbox One.
So, people,
So
it's about time for this conclusions.
it's time to rate the game. All right, let's let the special guest go first with the rating.
Well, there's one thing I wanted to bring up when we were going on about, re-releasing and republishing or whatever. there's one thing that I've always been posting about how they could do it, like the Kingdom Hearts HD collection. They could include
love that.
They could include the Crisis Core.
Correct.
They could include the actual Advent Children Uncut Edition.
Blu-ray edition because
Yeah, the
that
Blu-ray.
is the extended stuff. Yeah,
And then
which is way better.
I finally watched
and
that.
then that dirge of
Cerberus.
servers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably so many other downloadable games that they could include into it, just like the Metal Gear Solid Legacy
Including
collection.
the mini-series
Yeah.
animes. The one, the cell phone game that I wanted to play was the Before Crisis because you play as Vincent when he's in the Turks.
Yeah.
It's part of the story.
Yeah, but it never came to the United States.
Never came to the U.S. We never got it.
It was Nokia-only phones in Japan.
It sucks. I wanted to play it to see what it was all about.
But a collection like that could be possible.
Yes.
But apparently, Square Enix doesn't want to listen to it.
They don't want.
Its
They don't
fans
like
and don't,
money.
doesn't want
Square
to
Enix
make
does
money.
not like money anymore.
Yeah, we've determined that a long
Yeah.
time
They
ago.
hate it.
They hate money.
But okay, so as far
If
as
they
the
liked money,
review-
they'd do everything right.
Correct.
So the review normally goes between 1 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, one. Okay.
5.
5 is a perfect game. 4 is great. 3 is basic. 2, only if you're a hardcore fan. 1, this game sucks. Stay away. 0, we're sorry we even
It's
mentioned.
not even playable.
Yeah.
I'd give Final Fantasy VII 3.5.
Really? I mean, so that puts you at above average.
Yep.
What about you, Bill?
Oh no, Bill goes last. I forgot. My bad.
I started here.
I'm busy with calculation.
Well, I started here. Why don't we just go around like
Okay.
this?
If I have to
Okay,
give it a score, the reason it's going to get a 4.5, the reason I can't see it as a perfect game is one major flaw. If I have to add a con,
What is it?
I can't beat it again. I can't sit through the whole thing another time. I can't. It bores the shit out of me. I know everything about it. Nothing's going to surprise me about it again. Its gameplay is good, but it's time consuming, and because of that, I have a whole lot of other games that I need to be playing right now. So when I sit down and I put in 7, I might get 30, 40 hours into it, but I never complete it. I have not beat the game again since it came out on the marketplace and I got it for my PSP, and the only reason I beat it is because I could take it with me everywhere I went.
Well-
If I have to sit on my couch and play it, I won't beat this game again. I just know it. It'll be years before I can do it again, so it doesn't get a perfect score.
Set 3?
I'm giving it a 3, but at the same time, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Mine's not fair, just for the simple
Just
fact
because-
of I've never beat it. I've seen people play it. I've played it a bit while I was playing it. I enjoyed it, but like what Bill said, it comes down to a matter of you get to this point where you're just like, I'm tired of doing this. But that's how it is with every RPG. Like, it's been a while since I've actually had an RPG where I've been like, okay, yep, nope, just going to keep playing this. I don't care about anything else. This is all I'm playing.
All right. I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's a great game. It's a great game, but not perfect. It's never going to be 6. Sorry, guys. Sorry from all the fanboys out there. It's never going to be 6.
Well,
But
Mama's boy will never be able to fight against God of all mankind.
Yeah.
it's a great game. No, I gave you my con. I don't like losing characters. It's sad.
And extremely frustrating.
Yes. Yes, I had her ultimate
Especially
weapon.
when you dump 72 hours in the very first
I got her ultimate weapon. I had the last fucking limit break,
To be
and
fair,
then he's like,
to
take it
be
away.
fair, you got her ultimate weapon
Early.
and her limit break
Early, yes.
before anybody else was even close.
It should have been a
I mean,
foreshadowing.
think about it.
I was gonna think, man. I wasn't
I
thinking.
just thought she was just going to be Beast.
I thought that she was the easy. I mean, maybe they're gonna give her the easiest stuff. I should have seen it was an epic foreshadowing of someone dying.
Kind of.
It was.
They were
Really?
throwing clues in your face. Like, they were centering the story completely around her. The fact that you got her stuff so quickly, her final weapon is pretty weak
I was a
when you
kid.
think about it.
I was a kid. Nowadays, I would have seen something.
Well, that and her final limit break was broke as a
It
fucking
was
joke.
pretty sweet.
Oh, let's heal everybody full health. Let's give them all their limit breaks. Oh, and we're invincible. Yeah!
So
Yeah.
now it's Nick, the last person.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
All right. That's
There's a lot of great things in this game. Yeah, the graphics don't hold up to nowadays standards, so that's why it got a couple points knocked off. But other than that, the rest of the game holds up perfectly, and it still has people wanting more.
Yeah, exactly.
More.
It's like every single time they come out with something new for Final Fantasy VII, I fucking buy it.
Everybody wants
And I'm
more.
like, let's play or watch this bitch. And then when I get done, I'm like, give me more. I want more. I sat down and played 13, and I beat 13. I was like, that was an alright game.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Wonder what 14 is like. I wonder what the next one's gonna be like. Let's give me a new game.
Oh, it's awesome.
13-2 is ass.
Then they're like,
yeah,
here's
wait to get
13-2.
to it.
I was like, I said new game. I didn't want a sequel.
I'm looking
I don't
forward
care
to
about
it.
this universe.
When we
enough.
get to those
I
games,
can't wait to sing its praises.
But the thing is, it's like, I literally said when I beat 13, it's like, wonder what the next numbered Final Fantasy is going to be. I didn't want a sequel like I wanted in 10. I didn't want sequels like I wanted in 7. I wanted a new game, new characters, completely new universe.
well, that would be 15.
Yeah, I'm
Technically
still waiting.
14. It's an MMO, but there's
14 I can't play.
I feel like 11 and 14 should not get numbers, but
we're
we'll
not-
get there.
But yeah, no. So your next Final Fantasy with new characters would be 15.
Yeah,
Which don't know.
actually Final Fantasy Versus would have been the next one because they would have had new characters. Completely different story, but that became 15. So,
yeah.
and now we have boy band syndrome coming up.
I can't really bash it because I don't know nothing about it.
Nobody really does. We just see boy bands.
Actually, the developers know a lot more.
Oh, the developers.
They know
do.
what's going on. Okay,
Gee, I wonder why.
they're developing it, so they need to know more than we.
Regardless, 7 has a mighty score of 3.9.
Whoa!
Scott,
It's almost a 4.
well,
Yeah, it almost made
I
it.
wanted to give it a 4.
But to be fair, that does make it like 0.1 away from being like great. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it is. It is a playable
It's a good
game. It's
game.
still a good game. Yeah.
it is far above average.
If you can get past how it looks, you can still play it today.
I think the looks and the fact that the impact of the story only works once.
Yes. Everybody knows she dies.
And
You don't
in a
get that
way,
same-
that's a bad thing too, because like, okay, if you're listening to this podcast and you've never played it and you know she's gonna die,
Don't listen to
You're
her.
going to do the exact same thing I did. You're not going to give a damn about her, and
right? You're not
gonna get the
You'll
impact.
never get the experience that we got because we put our time into her. We invested. We loved that character. We became attached. We gave a shit.
And bitch died.
And then they took her away from us.
I wanted to cry.
Like when Hojo was trying to get her to mate with a dog, we were like, oh no! Not gonna happen, Hojo.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but when
No offense, but I would have been
after
like
you guys had already
anybody.
warned me about that, when it got to that point, I actually sat down and paid attention. And
Look at it!
yes,
That is
Spencer
what's
was
going
right.
on.
That is creepy as fuck.
He is going to watch her fuck the dog.
Hojo doesn't say.
No, the other way
He
around.
says
Yes.
he's gonna help these two species. He says they're both a dying race. I'm gonna help them. Now the way he chose to help them was to put them in a big glass cage together. There were no needles
Bust out the
involved.
lotion and
Yeah. And he was like looking into the glass, laughing. Ooh, he wanted
He's a-
some bestiality Final Fantasy. That's what was
he-
going
You're
on.
gonna get up there and watch them. They're gonna do. They watch some doggy style.
There was some-
Steel Fantasy
That is
7.
a really taboo scene, and that is exactly what was fucking happening. Because if I'm to believe that Red 13 was supposed to go up there and eat her, well, that doesn't help their species.
yeah.
That doesn't propagate. It doesn't move them forward.
And-
he wants a baby. He says he wants to create a specimen that will last through his testing. He says that Eris would not live through the amount of testing that he would need. He needs another specimen that he can get an entire lifetime of work out of. That means Eris needs a baby.
Half dog baby.
And when he said he was going to help the species, all of a sudden, she's in a cage, and an elevator comes up, and he introduces a dog, and I was like
Eris, Woofy.
Even when I was a kid, I remember thinking, how does that help them? Now, I wasn't thinking in the most disturbed way yet. I was like, how does that help either of them? If they're both extinct, and they need a new species, how does Eris being killed by 13 save either of them?
One of you needs to kill the other one and eat it.
Now,
you are both starving to death.
When I grew up and I started paying attention to this guy being like, I need to propagate the species. And then he was like, put them in a cage together. And then I was like, oh.
He wants them to fuck!
That is creepy shit.
Yeah, that's some terrible shit.
And then when he thinks his show is interrupted, he even opens the door. Think about it. As soon as you were like and shot holes in the glass, and the thing started lighting up, and he was like, no! And he runs over to the glass and throws open the glass because he thought his creepy peep show was ending. And then Red 13 attacked him.
Because you found out that Red 13 was actually an intelligent species.
Because Red 13 was like, look, you dirty motherfucker.
I'm not fucking that woman.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, she's hot.
I mean, if I was human, I'd fuck the shit out of that.
That is crazy. I can't believe that is even in a Final Fantasy. And
they're good. Well, Square was probably thinking
Final
kids
Fantasy
are not
has a lot of shit in it.
Yeah. Like that?
Not like...
Name one other scene that even comes close to bestiality porn in a Final Fantasy. One.
When I bring the rape.
Think about it. I mean, in 10,
there's one Final Fantasy that did something really weird.
Bestiality.
Okay, look, the only thing that can barely come close to it, and the only reason why it's barely, is because Numbnuts has a fucking tail. So if you count him as a monkey and he's trying to chase ass.
He is a monkey!
Then he's trying to chase ass.
He's Goku.
Yeah,
it still works because it's been done in anime and we accepted it. We have not accepted dogs fucking Eris.
Think about it. Even in 10, when
at least
Kamari is tiger.
Haven't. I don't know what's up with you guys.
Kamari's a tiger. He'll protect Yuna with his life. Doesn't mean he wants to fuck her.
Right.
Yeah.
There is a really creepy aspect.
Well, Kamari also suffers from THS.
For anybody.
Tiny horn syndrome. He doesn't have a horn.
For anybody that is listening to this show that can argue this point, we have a group page on Facebook, Reploid Productions. If you can give me something else, if you can convince me that that's not what's happening here, please do. Because as far as I'm concerned, Hojo's the dirtiest, perviest character in Final Fantasy history.
Wants to watch a dog fuck a girl.
That's exactly what's going on. And if anybody believes they know different, please prove me wrong.
I was almost about to say that wouldn't be dirty or pervy. That would just be completely fucking insane.
I welcome proving me wrong.
There's not many.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So
if you prove this man wrong, you usually win a prize.
Or you can go reploidbill@gmail.com or reploidproductions, no space, at gmail.com. If you send me a response, I'll put it on the next Final Fantasy Legacy saying what you think. So there's that. And we have a guest character here, so we'll let him give out his information before we're done.
You're a character.
You're a character.
Oh, I'm a character now.
He's a character.
Wait, but he's NPC. He doesn't.
Yeah, you're an NPC. You don't get cool stats. You're a weak little bastard.
Yeah, if anything, I'll just plug my show, Action Video Game Talking, and check out on YouTube or Facebook. There you go.
Damn,
son.
So that has been our Final Fantasy VII, our final score 3.9. So next we move on to the very first official PlayStation 1 complete game for Final Fantasy.